Good morning, Business Athlete Nation. Nicole Bernard.
Good morning. Don't mind me. I'm just putting my earrings on.
That's all right. That's all right. At least you're not putting your mascara on. See Marty Fit. Good morning, my friend.
Good morning. Can you hear me?
Can hear you loud and clear. You're looking styling and profiling all the way from the DMV, from the...
Yes, sir.
Yeah, somewhere from that east part of the country. Hey, we got a super creator joining the show today, Steve Hulford. You guys are going to love today's show, man. I've met Steve a long time ago, many years ago, I was building ICUC, and the guy's brilliant. The guy is brilliant. He's so humble too. So he builds this media channel with a gazillion followers, and you talk to him and he's like, oh yeah, like no, you got like 8 million people that follow your channel. He's like, yeah, pretty good. And the guy has built this science video channel that when I first saw it, I just fell in love with it. So I personally, Keith Billis, extremely excited to share this with my friends today. Like you, Nicole, and you, see Marty. Like I'm just excited to introduce you to Steve. I'm excited to share his content with you. So I'm really excited about today's show. To welcome Steve here in a few moments. I said, Steve, come on in the show, hang out with us for an hour, enjoy the ultimate in morning show. Jeez. See Marty, how was your day yesterday? Well, listen, I know you're an hour ahead of me, and I know Nicole's an hour behind me. No, actually 2 behind me. So I made a decision this morning that I'm going to open up my little monologue, throwing the dart to the east, so that it gives Nicole a little more time for a few more sips of coffee before I throw the dart back to the west. So, see Marty, how was your day and how was your evening last night, pal?
Can you see the cup? It's a little messed up.
Oh, there you go.
There you go. Yeah.
Where is that?
Oh, yeah. Sorry. Let's crunch more crunches on the cup. Yeah.
That's it. Let's crunch. So, Nicole, C. Marty's been on my ass about getting branded merch, and I'm like, I know, because right now I'm promoting the hell out of the gym in San Diego that I spent a lot of time at a couple summers ago, which is Fit, great gym, frankly, and I love the branding on the hat because it looks so subtle. It doesn't look like it's a big logo, right? So, but I got to get some BAPL merch.
Absolutely.
See, Marty, how was your day yesterday, man? I know we left the morning. You had some boulder shoulders to build. How did your day go yesterday, pal?
Yeah, I did some boulder shoulders. Nicole liked my story. I posted some of my boulder shoulder workout.
Nice.
And Nicole liked my caption on one of the posts.
I guess I need to check that out.
Yeah, but no, I had a good day. Yeah, I'll show you when we get off. I don't want to say it on here. But yeah. I had a good day. Very productive, and hoping for the same today. How about yourself?
Mine was really productive. As you guys know, I had a rest and recovery day yesterday, and I spent some time. Let me just see if I can do this here. I think I can do. I spent some time doing this, as you guys know.
Yes. Did you send that picture to see Marty Fit as well?
I did. Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
I got it.
I thought he was in labor. Nicole. I didn't know what was going on. I was like, what's going on here? What are we doing?
I was in the post, and I thought to myself, I gotta send this to Nicole and see Marty. It was this morning that I realized that there's technology exists where I can send the same message at the same time to 2 people. I'm like, oh, I guess I can just send it to Nicole and Marty this morning as one. But yesterday I sent you guys this image because you guys know Happy Baby, right? Like you know the pose, right? Where you right? So yeah, my kids love see Marty when they come downstairs to visit Dad, and Dad's in the Happy Baby pose.
Hey, good job, Keith. Good job.
There's no response to that, Keith. Like,
good job, Keith.
Hey, see Marty, I spent some time with my children last night, getting them familiar with See Marty Fit.
What they say?
No, they were loving it, man. Carter and Pipes were just digging it. I was like, Brookie's a little young, so I'm gonna subtly introduce Brookie to See Marty Fit.
She might not be ready yet.
Yeah, she might not be ready yet, but I had Carter in the car yesterday and Piper, and I was like, dudes, you guys got to check out my new co-host, my new friend here on the show. We've been hanging out with Nicole and myself, and
what'd you show on my Instagram or?
We went through the Instagram profile. Yeah. Oh yeah. So Piper's 14, Carter's 17, and we were howling, man. I was driving down the road, and I had the Tesla full hands on, and we were just howling, watching see Marty Fit.
That's funny. Well, I'm glad they like it.
Yeah, well,
a lot of people don't like it.
Oh man, a lot of people don't like it. Nicole, you had an active day yesterday. We had a little chit chat yesterday afternoon. You went off to Arlo's baseball, soccer. You had to be mom last night. How did that go last night?
Good. But they lost. But you know, it was the first one of the season. We ended up going to soccer. We had to pick one or the other because they ended up overlapping each other.
Okay.
We went to soccer, but it was good. I mean, he actually had a great time. He played awesome, but they didn't win. But you know, that's sports. So
that is sports. How does Arlo do with losing?
He doesn't like it, but he handles it well. So
yeah. How does mom and dad teach losing? Is that so? How do you handle losing? I guess is maybe the best question.
Yeah, I mean, we just we're very much try your hardest, put effort either for your team. You know, that's all you can do. You know, and sometimes you'll win, sometimes you won't. And again, it's kind of sports. That's life in general. So, but just as long as you try hard with a good attitude, we're happy.
Yeah. See, Marty, what's your attitude on that too?
I agree. I think sports, like for kids, that's the best way to build character.
Yeah.
And I notice a lot of my clients that struggle, they never played sports. So no structure, no foundation.
Yes.
No physical pain ever. So they just don't understand. So I think it's great for kids, and you know, I think it's great for them, moving on in life.
So let me ask you this, guys.
Skills that you learn that you don't even realize.
Absolutely.
You know.
Absolutely.
Let me ask you guys this. So Piper was in dance competition last weekend, and at the competition, all they did was give out golds. It was gold, high gold, and elite gold. So in other words, it was gold, silver, bronze rebranded as gold. I struggle with that.
I hate it.
Me too.
I do too. It's wrong.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of that.
No,
for them.
It's okay to lose. Like, it's okay to tell kids that they lost. You know, there's nothing wrong with that, because you're not going to get the gold every time as you grow up. It's just not going to happen. You know, and a lot of children are in for a rude awakening when they're adults and life hits. You know, whether that's anything, any type of loss, it's gonna be a struggle for them. So.
Yeah, I feel the same way. Lauren and I were standing there watching, and it's a gold. And it's like, no, it's bronze. Actually, it's bronze, and it's okay to have the bronze.
Like, you don't get the same treatment that the person who bust their ass and won first place. Right. You don't get the same treatment and acknowledgement as them. It doesn't work like that.
No, I know. It just doesn't work that way. So. Yeah, so I'm on the same page as you guys. And who was that? See, Marty, there was a coach a couple years ago, went up on, was a college coach, Saxon? Who was it? He went on the stage there and he just admonished society for, accepting mediocrity and rewarding mediocrity, right? Which is, why do we got to keep giving all of our children trophies?
Yeah, I think that's crazy.
Yeah. Speaking of trophies, see, Marty, Nicole, you guys are going to be proud. I did not crush the bunny yesterday.
Still there? Still alive?
We need higher standards.
The bar is low. We got to pick it up.
But you want to talk about accountability, though, and I share this with Nation because there's a lot of people that listen in this show that have the same challenges. Well, see, Marty, so you see how it says Hershey Kisses here, and it's got the bunny. Well, you might as well posture your face on this because I got it sitting here, and I got to see Marty staring at me, going, "Dude, big back." Big back. You can't have the chocolates. I'm like, all right, I will not eat the chocolate. And if I do, I will not tell my friends that I ate the chocolate. But I also have not eaten this either. I just stare at this. So there's going to be a day, though.
Tell your kids that you ate their bunny in your car ride yesterday?
Nicole, don't. No, I do not tell my kids.
He's like, I hope they forget. I hope they forget about the bunny.
Okay, well, here's how it worked. Carter was over a couple days ago working out, and I'm like, "Hey, Bees, you want the chocolate?" He's like, "Dad, I'm training for hockey season."
He's like, "I have higher standards." Just
who's the parent and who's the kid here? What's going on?
So I crushed the chocolate because they weren't going to.
Seems like a good enough reason.
Somebody had to do it, right?
Somebody had to do it, right? You know who has to do it? I'm going to ask Mr. Halford about his challenges of chocolate. Mr. Halford, welcome to the lab here this morning. How are you, my friend?
Great. I'm doing well. I'm not as awake as you three are right now, but I'm good.
I
haven't had my chocolate.
See, Marty and Nicole, we're going to have to throw our guest under the bus this morning. So let me just get the cameras correct here. So I just want to make sure we heard this clear. So Steve is joining us from the Eastern time zone. Nicole's joining us from the Pacific time zone. Keith's joining us from the Central time zone. And guys, our guest is complaining that he's tired.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
maybe he had a long night. Maybe he had a long night.
There you go.
Super creators. That's it. That's it. See, Marty. Super creator. I coined a new term this morning, guys. Super creator. Because Steve's not just a creator. As a matter of fact, Steve's a humble human being. Doesn't even think of himself as a creator. He brands himself as an entrepreneur, business guy. But when we dig into what he's done, and shine a light on this guy for a little bit today, for the whole hour, you're all going to be like, the guy's exceptional. So I'm super excited to bring in Holford today and meet you guys. And we're going to go through the what if, the underknown, all that stuff.
Meet you guys.
Absolutely. I told Steve this is the ultimate in morning cheese. Steve, did you see the morning opener?
I did not. No.
Oh, let me show you this.
My apologies.
No, watch this. Because this harkens back. So when I showed C. Marty fit this, and I got to make some changes to include his beautiful mug into it. But when I showed this to C. Marty's like, oh my God, man, I feel like I'm stepping into 1968. I got to be on this show. Check this out. Watch.
Nicely done. Very nice. You said 1960s. I'm thinking. I'm thinking 90s.
Okay.
Reba and Kelly, or Kelly and Regis, or something like that.
That's exactly it. Yes. So, I think that I'm going to be adopting the Regis persona. We got Nicole adopting Kelly, and we got C. Marty Fit maybe adopting, I don't know, Al Roker. I'm just trying to
a super fit Al Roker.
That's
Al Roker lost weight, so that's why he said that.
Not on Ozempic, right? See, Marty, not on Ozempic either. No, he lifted.
You never know.
Surgery, though, didn't he? I think
he lost weight and then he got super fit.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's
so he doesn't count.
3.0 Al Roker.
Yeah, doesn't count. Doesn't he do like weather and stuff? That's way off, Keith.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
So got to find somebody else. Come on, Keith.
Oh man. All right, so we're 50 minutes in and we're off to a great start already this morning. I love how this is all rolling. It's this point in the show where we like to get into our accountability check-in. See, Marty, Nicole, and Steve, this is a segment on the show where we like to just put a topic on the screen, topic of a discussion for people to consider as they start their day. I make a LinkedIn post every single morning at 7:16 Central Time. And today's post is this idea that it's controversial opinion, but independence is overrated. Everybody wants to be independent. We all want to be independent. However, we all want to be self-sufficient, to prove we're the best and that we can do it all. We want to build these walls around us to prove that we're strong, to prove we don't need others to succeed in life, and we just put our heads down and we go to work. But you think about it, right? Life is absolutely interdependent. Humans need humans to succeed. And we often forget about that. It's like, oh, I got to be a solopreneur. I got to get into corporate. I got to go do my own thing. Yeah, but good luck with that.
Good luck with that, yeah.
Right? The biggest success stories, Steve, always a team effort. Always, right? So did you build the Underknown all by yourself? No. Have I built all this by myself? No. Right? So, Nicole was kind enough to show up 35 shows ago would join me in the morning, and we're still here 36 shows in. So I guess the point is, team, is that to dig into any great achievement, you'll need to find supporters, mentors, collaborators. And Holford, I think you're a great example as you've built the Underknown, right? The most successful human beings embrace interdependence through strength. I know you and I have had many conversations. You're not building Underknown without your team of supporters, your team of mentors, your team of collaborators.
Investors,
right? So when you think about it, nation, success happens through teamwork and a shared vision. And I know I can speak from this because I'm not bootstrapping ICUC to the tune we sold it for. It was my vision, and it was up in the skull here. We took the white piece of paper and executed on it. But I couldn't do it without the team. Just like as I've been talking to you, C. Marty, and you, Nicole, about building BAPL here, it ain't, I got a vision in my head, but it ain't coming together by myself. So if you're listening right now and tuning into this, and you think you're the old all strong and mighty interdependent solopreneur, that's awesome. But I would invite you to look in the mirror and invite somebody onto your team. I suspect you're going to have a lot more success with that. So
maybe an accountant.
Yes, maybe
at a minimum.
At a minimum. I think it's so funny. I've recently had a couple soldiers on my show, Steve. I had a guy who went from sticking heroin needles in his arm on the south side of Chicago to working special ops. Like,
wow.
And he said to me, he's like, Keith, I was asking about his.
That's a pivot.
Oh, he woke up one day. So get this, it's Joseph Malone. He woke up one day and recognized that he was on a path to three choices in life. He's either going to end up dead, he was going to end up in jail, or he was going to end up a junkie. So he chose the Marines. But what really struck me, Steve, was that he said to me, I couldn't let my friend go by himself. Like, talk about selfless. Yes. And then he said to me, I asked him kind of what was, what that was. That kind of got into the experiential, and I invited everybody to check out the Joseph Malone story. But he said, Keith, standing a few feet in front of another human and shooting at another human is something that you just can't even describe how you feel about it.
Yeah.
I can't even imagine that whole idea.
Wow.
So, but Steve, you commented on having an accountant, and I said, well, we all grow up in life. I said to my kids, you need to make sure you have an accountant close to you. You got to have a lawyer close to you. Maybe your doctor close to you. And then I said, now I got two soldiers close to me. I got a guy down in Arkansas who's a soldier, and I got a guy in Chicago who's a soldier. So I got a couple buddies now that can back up old Uncle Keith as we move through life together. So
nice.
There you go. All right, so we're 19 minutes into the show. We've gone through, we have gotten into our accountability check-in, had a little bit of coffee, welcomed Halford into the lab. I think it's this point of the show, Steve, where we are going to pivot the light, and I'm going to do this. There we go. Yeah. I'm going to shine the light on Mr. Halford because it's now time to talk a little bit about who is Steve Hulford.
Let's find out.
Yeah, let's find out. Steve joins us from Toronto. I want to give you the opportunity to take a few seconds to introduce yourself before I spend some time introducing you. So, who's Steve?
Who am I? Well, I guess in this context, an entrepreneur. I'm on my fifth company. Had a couple successful exits. I'm working currently on what we call a digital first media company. I always say if National Geographic and Discovery Channel had a baby in 2024, it would be Underknown. We're a factual producer of content. We distribute our own content we produce on social channels like YouTube, Facebook, Snapchat, TikTok. Got about 100 brilliant creators in our organization doing all aspects of the content creation process all over the world in as many as 10 languages. That's what I'm working on from a business perspective. Personally, I'm a marathon swimmer. I've been swimming since as I was a kid. I swam on the national team for Canada, and probably around the age of 40, I started to swim in open water. Yeah, I'm in here in Toronto. We had this. We've got this beautiful lake right in front of us, and not a lot of people swimming in it. And I started swimming in it many years ago. and put a swim race together with a bunch of friends. And, that sort of started me on a path to be an environmentalist, and sort of learned and studied water systems. And I'm in the lake year round, swimming with wetsuits, whatever it might be. And this summer, I'm going to do my first major marathon swim. And father of two beautiful kids, and live in downtown Toronto. Tend to be someone who I follow my passions, and that can lead me to create companies. And that's what happened in the case of Underknown.
I have never met somebody.
An old friend to Keith's, actually.
Yeah. So hey, we're not using the word old here, man. That's that we save that word for C. Marty Fit, man, because he's going to be growing into old one day. So C. Marty and I were chatting yesterday. I'll leave that for off the air, but we were talking about flows and as happens when you hit your 50s in life. But Steve, you are the most humble person I know. You're the most curious person I know. And Nicole and C. Marty, I got to state this publicly. So yes, Steve just is like, yeah, I've done this and done this. No, listen. So Steve has 65 million followers across 75 monetized channels. So not one channel, not five. I'm happy that I got 3. The guy's like 75 monetized channels. He's got more people following his work than there are humans living in Canada. See, Marty, what do you think of that?
No, that's amazing. And it's inspiring. So.
Extremely. His channels.
An outdated number too. I think it's probably more like 75 now.
Sorry.
Hey, who's counting?
Keith, you got to get your numbers right, man. Come on,
we have to update our website.
No, Marty, this is the good news, man. This is me selling Halford on the fact I want to do some work for him because I'm reading his dated numbers out loud. And I'm like, no, man, it's actually better than this. His channels produce over 2 billion ads, probably 4 billion ads by now, Halford, or what?
Actually, probably less. Probably less.
Yeah. So we're going to tease some what if content coming up here in the show. We're going to put some on the air for you guys to check out. We're going to answer some questions. But Halford, you're a understated, humble producer, but what really excited me as you've gone through your life is, I'm not going to use the word pivot, but your this pursuit of being an environmentalist, this pursuit of the water, this pursuit of, when you started telling me what you were doing in Lake Ontario about measuring, the levels of what's happening in the water, and you could not believe yourself, nobody was measuring like what was happening in the water. It struck me as something that was like, why is somebody not doing that? And see, Marty and Nicole, just to give you some perspective, when Steve swims in the water, he's like, so what's in the water? What kind of algae? What's happening inside the water? And he could not get, I guess, scientific data, Steve, to get that. So he built some sensors, built some buoys, threw them in the water, and he's got real-time data from the water before he gets into it.
It's actually water temperature. It's actually water temperature that I've been studying. As you swim in Lake Ontario, it's the water. It's such a huge body of water, and the temperature can change from 21, 22, 23 Celsius overnight to 4, and that's. We can get these northerly winds that push the water column like this, and it could be July and August, September when this happens, and you might be out swimming in the lake one day or out in a boat, and the next day it's absolutely frigid, and we call that when the lake turns over. And we also noticed too that you could be swimming at Cherry Beach or Ashbridges Bay or Humber Bay, and the temperature difference could be 10 degrees within 1 or 2 kilometers. So I've been thinking about trying to get real-time water temperature in the lake for a long time. And when the pandemic started, I put in a bunch of water temperature. I actually tracked down some people that could help me with this because I couldn't do it on my own. And put water temperature sensors in there, and every year now, so the whole community, I'm getting lots of people texting me saying my buoy over at Cherry Beach is not functioning right now, and I got to get down there and fix it. But so yeah, that's been a fun project. It's got me, in the lake. It's I'm part of a community now that came to a lot of the swim races, and there's a lot more people, swimming open water all over the country and all over the world, really, for that matter. And when you're in it, you're quite vulnerable. And so we want to know what's in the water. That's the next question: is what is in it? As Keith said, like what is the quality of the water? And it's hard to get that information.
I was struck by that when you explained to me what you were doing, Steve. That the information you were looking for was not readily available. When me as a human staring at that lake over there, I guess takes it for granted that it is, because we spend so much time in it, we consume it, we do something with it. But what you said to me, and correct me if I'm wrong, but you couldn't find any of the data you were looking for unless you built this yourself. Am I correct?
That's correct. Yeah.
Did that not surprise you? Did that not really kind of throw you throw you for a loop that we took that information for granted?
Yeah, absolutely. And that water quality in general is not something we have data on.
Why?
Well, I think it's we take it for granted. One thing I often do is I'll poll people in Toronto and I'll ask them, where do you think our drinking water comes from? And I'd say maybe 20 or 30% will say Lake Ontario. I don't know where they think it comes from, but it comes from Lake Ontario. We have some of the tastiest fresh water. I'm sure Winnipeg's got plenty of fresh water too.
So it comes from Lake Ontario, yet you're swimming in it, you're measuring it, and you're seeing what's actually in it. Now, I know it's treated and everything, but it must have been an eye-opener for you once you started measuring what was in it, knowing you were drinking it.
Well, again, I'm just testing water temperature, but I am part of an organization called Swim Drink Fish that's testing E. coli levels. And that's another thing as swimmers we want to know, what's the E. coli levels? And those are hard to get because you actually have to run it through a lab right now. So it takes a little bit of time. So it's 48 hours old by the time you get in it. And what happens here in Toronto, we have this old infrastructure in the old city of Toronto, and where you have a storm sewer and you have a sewage pipe, and the two overflow into each other when there's really, really heavy rains. And what happens is they built these cisterns down at the lake, giant 20-story buckets, basically, dozens of them, that'll catch the overflow. And if Toronto's like basically downhill, there's the 401, and then you go down to the lake, and it's probably a couple hundred feet in elevation. So all this rainwater flows down towards the lake, and they catch it in these cisterns. But because as our climate's changing, we're getting frequently more heavy rains, like these flash flood rainstorms, and they can't contain all this water, so they actually have to dump untreated raw sewage into the lake. And that's been happening. It's happening in Montreal, it's happening here. And they're fixing the infrastructure, a multi-billion-dollar project on the east side of Toronto, but the west side will continue to do that. And then what happens is the E. coli levels shoot up to 1,500 to 2,000 parts per million, and under 100 is considered safe. And that's typically what will happen. And then the lake is so big, it'll actually digest that. Within a day or two, it's down to a normal level. But you'll see as sometimes you're swimming along and you'll come into a patch of flotsam, floating debris, and in it is like some sticks, Q-tips, tampon applicators, wet naps, and that came out of a toilet.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, so there's Steve turning into being an environmentalist. It's all told by see Marty Fitt's facial expression.
Come for a swim, Marty. Come to Toronto for a swim. I tell you, it's nice in there.
Guess that. I'm going to second guess that.
The hard pass.
That's it. All right.
But people don't realize, like, we shouldn't be, when there's heavy rains, we're in these big cities, but when there's heavy rains, the old saying, when you're at a cottage, if it's yellow, let it mellow. If it's brown, flush it down. We should be doing the exact same thing in Toronto, in all of our big cities, but we don't. We're totally disconnected from these concepts.
Oh goodness. We are 31 minutes into our show. We're gonna sneak away. We're here with exactly. We're here with Steve Hulford, super creator, entrepreneur, environmentalist, talking about the underknown, talking about what if. I'm gonna invite you all to step away for about 70 seconds. I'm gonna run a little clip. Steve hasn't seen this, but if you want to stick around and looking for something to do tonight after the hockey game, I got something to put in your ear. I'm gonna throw it here on a second. Of course, Jets are playing the Avalanche tonight. I will throw my jersey on a little later today, but we'll step away for an 80-second coffee break. We're going to come back, and then we're going to dig into what is the underknown. Oh, I got the best idea for you. So I want to invite you to take me to bed with you. Yeah, it's a true story. There's a hook. There's some nice music. So what I'm thinking, the best way you can end your day today is you can crawl up into the sack. Yeah, that's the bed. Just for all you thinking in the gutter. You're all just... Nation, you got to get out of the gutter, man. So crawl into bed next to your partner. You say to them, you know what, honey? You know what, partner? And they're going to go, yes, honey. Yes, partner. And you might want to say to them, you know what? We're not going to put on late night television. No, we're not going to put any of that late night stuff on our phones. No, we're going to open up the old YouTuber. Yeah, you know, that little platform that sits on your phone, sits on every device on the planet. And you're going to go into Keith in the lab. And you're going to look at all these wonderful shows with all these incredible human beings that have come through the lab. And you're going to select one. And I might invite you to check out the one that pops up right in front of you. That says, stuck in a hot tub with Dana Carvey. Huh? It'll make you laugh. It'll keep you entertained. And by the time it gets a little bit boring, at the last 57, 58, 59 minute mark, you go to sleep. Because we are here to entertain and inform you. So I invite you to introduce a new routine to your life and take the chief BAPL to bed and close your day off with me. Yeah, so if you're looking for something to do tonight, after the Jets beat the Avalanche, I invite you to take me to bed, drop some new shows in the lab, a lot of great new shows, conversations all week with Deanna Radulescu, Joseph Malone, the Soldier, and so forth. But we are not here to talk about that. We are here to talk about Steve Hulford, Underknown, What If, See Marty Fit, Nicole. I want to invite you guys to check out this before we get into a further conversation with Steve Hulford. Watch this. That is spectacular stuff, man. Halford, the underknown. Tell us right now, tell Business Athlete Nation, how did you come up with the underknown? What sparked it? And then I want you to tell Nation really, what is the underknown? What does it mean to you? I love the word. Let's talk about the underknown, Steve Hulford.
Sure. Yeah. Well, like we said at the start of the show, this was a collaboration with some very, very creative and talented people. You know, I think of myself as a producer, first into a project, last out, raise the money, find the team, that sort of thing. And I guess it was 16. I'd sold my last company to an Australian entrepreneur, a guy by the name of Alex Hartman. And he said, I want you to incubate your next company in this one. And I got to think slowly for like 18 months. And I was studying the content space, which back then really consisted of monetizing on YouTube, and Facebook was like massively on the rise, and video was all everybody was talking about. And I imagine, like, I followed the business model of AdSense was quite exciting. Like, I just come out of a software as a service company that we built, and SaaS revenue is quite sticky. You get it every single month. It's not like an agency where you're looking for clients to work on a project that's done, and you're now looking for another client to do a project for. So I imagined having like 100 monetized video channels, all with content in them, earning money while we slept, and that money gets deposited into your bank account every single month. So, and I thought, well, that's a pretty stable way to build a media company. Like, the old media got money from subscription and advertising, and this was the next evolution of that. And this very much thought like YouTube is now television for new generations. So we started to think, okay, well, what content would we make? And I grew up reading National Geographic, the World Almanac, and Book of Facts, the Book of Lists, Ripley's Believe It or Not, the Guinness Book of World Records, Reader's Digest, and I had a voracious appetite for factual content. And I thought to myself, like, whatever, like all those brands I've just mentioned really never made it to digital, with the exception of National Geographic. And I thought, like, why do people lose interest in these subjects? So in 2016, I did a ton of research, found about 250 really interesting stories. And we started to, I partnered with Raphael Fay and Peter Schmeichin, two guys I'd worked with in the past before, incredibly creative guys, people that they themselves were like doers, got shit done, made things happen, but could also manage teams. So when you're starting a startup, you need to basically be a doer, and then as it scales up, put people under you. And we started, 2016 was like a lot of experimentation. We started to make a lot of these videos, and we started to put them out on Facebook, putting a little bit of money behind it to sort of, and targeting fans of like Atlas Obscura. And we just kept getting viral hits. We did one, I got to let someone into my office here, 1 second. I remember the first big hit that we did was the 9/11 boat lift. A lot of people think, what's the largest marine evacuation in the history of the world? People think Dunkirk. In the Second World War, the Allies left 300,000 soldiers on the beaches of France, and the Nazis turned on them, and they were basically sitting ducks. And over the course of, like, I think it was several days, anybody with a boat in Britain came and rescued these soldiers. And when the towers fell after 9/11, 500,000 people were stranded on Manhattan Island. The bridges and tunnels were closed. So the Coast Guard got on the CB and said, if you have a boat, come to Manhattan and take these people off the island. And in 9 hours, they moved 500,000 people off the island. Oh, wow. It's an underknown story. So we kept doing that. We kept working on stories like that. I remember January 1st, 2017, I put together a video that looked like it was terrible looking and actually had a spelling mistake on it. And it went viral with 150 million views on Facebook. And it was 20 good news stories you'd never heard about. And then Chris Hadfield had tweeted out these things on New Year's, and I put it together in a video. So we kept having this viral success. I guess in the month of January, I managed to convince several friends, raise $1 million, built a team. And in this very room I'm sitting in right now, the first Underknowners started in February 2017. We scaled that up to like 15 people in my house until my wife said, no more, go get an office. And that was 2019. And Underknown, the term came from this English author, Ian Thornton. he was doing some writing for us, and he said that was the one thing all these stories had in common was they were underknown. And we thought, oh, that's a good name. So we took it, and kind of the rest is history.
I know, C. Marty, you were doing some homework last night, looking at some of the stuff that Steve is doing. What jumped out at you, C. Marty, when you were looking at his content?
There was one video like, what if there was life on Venus? It was Venus or Jupiter, one of those. And that was pretty cool to me, because you don't think about, what's out there in outer space, and there could be life out there. And so there's this, it gets controversial. People say there is, people say there isn't. So I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah. What about you, Nicole? What jumped out at you when you were doing a little bit of research?
Yeah, no, same thing. It's just stuff I've never even thought about thinking about. So I just love that brings it like top of mind and just kind of gets imagination going.
And Steve, how do you and your team come up? So you look at the site and you have an exceptional, amount of titles, right? You're always what if. How, take us behind the scenes of the process where you guys decide what to do a story on.
Yeah, so in the case of each show has a different kind of ideation process. In the case of What If, it's the most advanced, and there's a decision tree. They're looking to find a what if question that's very, very visual, because it's one thing. It might be an interesting what if question, but is it extremely visual? Can we find footage? Can we create footage for it? And often it's something that has an unintended consequence. Like I always tell the story of what if the moon smashed into Earth? That's a story about the Roche limit and the fact that the moon is moving away from the Earth. And that if it did actually come to collide with Earth, it would break up into a million pieces before it actually hit, and there would be the impact. And that the moon is what's left of a Mars-sized planet that once collided with Earth. And the moon is that's the debris field. And there would have been one time for probably millions and millions of years where the moon would have had rings like Saturn.
Wow.
So that's pretty wild to consider. There's other shows like Aperture. Oh, the other thing too is the audience sends in a lot of questions. And we have a team in Macedonia that's organizing all these questions. And there's a person that runs the channel. We call them showrunners. So we have someone running Aperture, someone running How to Survive, someone running What If, and our other shows as well. And they're trying to decide, and there's a lot of data science behind this. Is this question already out there on YouTube? Has anyone else made it before? Is it something we can kind of own? And there's a lot of data science that goes behind it and informs it. There might be a different way to ask the question too. And so there's a whole team that collaborates and supports the showrunner in terms of deciding, is that something we're going to work on? Like there you see Aperture. Aperture, one of the most popular subjects on Aperture is philosophy.
No kidding.
Yeah, philosophy, sociology, media literacy. It's a remarkable channel. We had, we did a video of 8 philosophical theories, you need to know. And I think it was like, 40,000 human years was consumed watching that. You can see it right there you scroll down a bit. So there it is, the 8 greatest philosophical theories. I think it had like 3 million views or something.
Wow. So Steve, do you watch all your content, or do you don't have time to watch all? And I'm honest, so I have to. No. You can't watch all of it.
Oh no, God, no. I don't. I follow the data. Like will. Like I've got all these dashboards, and often what I'll do is I'm a numbers guy. I'm constantly looking at numbers, and if something jumps out at me, that might lead me to go, oh, I'm going to watch that. Could be, wow, what happened on Snapchat on Crazy Creatures?
Yes.
And, I'll find out that there was a banger. We call them a banger. when a video goes viral, and then I'll go watch that. And then, so that's essentially how I do it. Or sometimes it just shows up in my feed and I'll watch it.
I have a question.
Go for it.
Steve, do you ever know if a video is going to go viral before you post it, before it's posted on one of the channels?
Well, I'm going to answer that, I think, on behalf of the team, and they definitely have, a hunch that this is going to be a banger. But there's lots of times too where it doesn't happen. So, it could be like, take YouTube, for example. The way YouTube's functioning is that it looks at the click-through rate on the thumbnail. And if the click-through rate's high, and then the people are watching like for a long period of time, that tells the algorithm that's some content we should recommend. So I would say about 25% of the views we get on our channel come from our followers. 75% come from recommendations. So it's really the recommendations that drive discovery for your channel and drive the views and ultimately the revenue. And it's really, that's a really important consideration. So we'll put a video up, and sometimes it's like, what? It's crickets, It's really being showed to the followers first. And it could be that we have to redo the thumbnail. That's a very common thing. We'll redo the thumbnail, and then sure enough, your click-through rate goes up. What'll happen is we know the watch time's strong. Our followers are watching for a long period of time, but the click-through rate sucks. So, you could have the right idea. You could produce an incredible video, and then the thumbnail itself isn't compelling enough, and people don't click.
I had obviously, since I've been following in Holford's footsteps of working on a media company, I did a little bit of research myself, Stephen, and have recognized that it's about 70% of your audience on YouTube comes through discovery.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, that's fascinating to me. It's fascinating to me. All right, so we're going to pivot to the last segment of the show. Halford, you don't know what's coming next, but this is the part of the show where we like to shine a light on a creator that we like to celebrate. And what we have done, I'm just going to do something here because I can tell that I'm got some stutter going on here. So let's just do this here. There we go. Good. What we like to do this part of the show is like to take a big spotlight. We identify a creator out on the internets, typically LinkedIn or moving to Instagram a little bit, but LinkedIn, we go, okay, this human's doing incredible work. And then we shine a light on them, talk about them on the show, and then we circulate content everywhere and shine the light and celebrate them for the entire day. So this is the part of the show where we're going to do that. Now, you don't know who we're surprising today. Neither does my team, actually. So I'm going to share today's announcement that today's Creator Spotlight in the lab is our friend, the super creator, Steve Hulford.
I was hoping you'd do that.
Yes, you got me correct, Nicole. I decided to select. I'm like, you know what? I am not going to shine the light on anybody else here today. I'm purely going to shine the light on our friend Halford, and we are going to do this.
78 mutual connections.
There we go. Congratulations, Halford. You are our super creator spotlight of the day here today. We got a whole crowd cheering you for here in the lab. So what does that mean? Well, listen, the guy has done something in his life here. As you can see by his stats, we know that they're dated, but we like to show you off, Steve. We want to make sure the world knows how awesome the work you're doing. And I know it's not just you. And that's why purposely I really, set up the show with our accountability check-in today, is that it's not just one human being. It's yourself, it's Raph, it's Peter Smitchin, it's your entire team of people. But Steve, for today's show, we're shining a light on you, my friend, the super creator. I know we're going to do a bunch of work together. I have every intention, frankly, of weaving what if and underknown content into this show, because we need to celebrate the work you're doing. We need to bring this into the conversation, and we need to show more people about the success that you have had. There's a lot of people that can't even get one follower. You have got 65 some odd million followers convinced to like your content. There's something to be said for that, my friend.
Right on.
So you are
Thank you.
Yes, you are our creator spotlight today. We're going to shine the light. We're going to cut a clip. Steve, you're going to see it circulate across the internets and off LinkedIn today and tag you in it and get people talking about it. But I invite you to check Steve out. Follow him, like his content. Go to the YouTube channel, like the stuff. You'll see some stuff about him here. He's what I learned about business from spearfishing. I think we'll have to invite Steve back for a second conversation about that. But because I can only imagine what you did learn about spearfishing, business from spearfishing. But here's his page. I invite you to check him out. LinkedIn, Steve Hulford. He's across all the feeds, but he is our super creator spotlight today here in the lab. Guys, we are wrapping it up. Nicole, see Marty Fit. We're into the last few minutes segment of our show. Any final questions for Steve before we say goodbye to him today?
I'm good. I got my question off.
Yeah, Nicole?
No, I don't have any questions. It's amazing what you're doing. Like, it's been really cool just to learn and to see how you do things. It's just been awesome.
What's next, Steve? What's next for you in Underknown?
Well, we are, we're very focused on YouTube right now, and we're looking at acquiring other YouTube channels. All the channels that we talked about are homegrown. We developed them ourselves, with the exception of Aperture. That was an acquisition. And we're looking at making more of those. And we're also looking at, we've been really focused on making longer videos, and we're looking at kind of a new phenomenon, if you will, called fast television. It stands for free ad-supported television or free ad streaming television. And essentially, when you buy a flat screen TV from LG or Samsung, on that is a whole channel guide. I guess just like this show, what's old is new again. You've got a channel guide, and you can browse through hundreds of channels, and it's free. There's no cable subscription with Rogers or Bell or Comcast or wherever you may be watching. It's free, and it's given to you by Samsung or LG or whatever flat screen manufacturer there is. And we're looking to launch a science channel on there, and bringing in the best of our stuff. What If, How to Survive, Aperture. We're also talking to a bunch of other YouTubers, and we're also going to acquire some great science programming. And that's something we see, big opportunity for in 2025 and beyond.
That's excellent. Steve, in a minute or less, see Marty is a burgeoning YouTube creator. We're building our business here on YouTube as well. In a minute or less, what would be advice you'd give to us as we're building our business using YouTube as part of our tools?
Well, I guess I would, first of all, find a subject matter or a format. You need to find platform format fit. So, the way you tell your story, the graphics in your story, play around and experiment with that in real time. Get it up. Don't wait till it's perfect. Let the algorithm tell you and your audience, whether it works or not. And when you have success, double down. If something, it may be 200 views, but then you get 1,000. Why do you think that is? And then double down, double down, double down. That's what we did. And next thing you know, you'll be having 1 million views. And you keep at it. Keep at it. Try and do something that's in a sustainable manner. Like start with 1 a month or 1 a week, whatever it might be. Outsource the things that you don't like doing or that really grind you down. Like maybe you don't like Photoshop and it's thumbnails. Hire someone on Upwork. Upwork has been for us a way to play much bigger than we are. And I hired people in 2016 that still work for our company. Wow. On Upwork. We've found some just incredible people. That's the gig economy. But people have found full-time jobs with Underknown, and that's how we built a global company. People all over the world. It's an incredible talent, and you can pay what you can afford. So you might be working with someone in a time zone like 12 hours away, but they do incredible work. So outsource that stuff and then follow the data. Really, I think I hear a lot of creators aren't really following the data. And there's a lot of news, if you will, in there that'll help you, find your next banger.
Yeah. Great advice, Mr. Halford. See Marty Fit, Nicole Bernard, Steve Hulford. Exceptional conversation today. I can't believe we're already done. I'm happy that you joined us today. Steve, some final words from you before we say goodbye.
Well, Keith, it's been I don't know how many years, 20, 25. I literally don't know, but thanks for all your support.
Thank you.
Great to meet you, Nicole and Marty, and I'll be following the show. And to anyone watching, getting into this space, the creator economy is booming, and it is exciting that you can live and work anywhere in the world. If you have a passion or an interest, and you just stick to it and produce content about that, it literally could set you free.
Yeah. Excellent. All right, guys, we're going to say goodbye so we can get the second loop running in here. Marty, over to you, my friend. What do you got going on for the day and the weekend before we say goodbye?
I got a birthday party to go to tomorrow.
Nice.
I'll be doing some content, podcasting, of course.
Nice.
A couple workouts.
Nice.
And since I'm a trainer, I wear a lot of gym attire. So this birthday party is formal. So you'll see me in a suit this weekend. So I'm excited for that. Yeah, nice. I'm excited for that.
Capture content. So, hey, Nicole, C. Marty is going to join us next week again. He's going to be weaving through the show here. So I said, hey, man, doors open. We're going to weave C. Marty in as much as he possibly can. You'll notice, Nicole, I made a little alteration to our logo. I added add friends in the middle. So I got Mornings in the Lab with Keith. So it's now Mornings in the Lab with Keith and Nicole and friends, because we have friends constantly coming through with us. So, it looks like we're clearly going to have a rotating chair of awesome human beings cycling us through here. So, Seymour, you have an awesome weekend at that birthday party. I'm looking forward to seeing that content. What about you, Nicole? Before we say goodbye, what do you got going on today and the weekend?
I actually have to go help out at my kids' school, which is going to be fun today. And I've got a soccer game and we've got sports. So, the usual.
Exceptional. I got work to do today. I got a meeting at my kids' school today and big hockey game tonight. Jets versus the Avalanche.
Good luck.
Thank you, Martin. Yeah, thank you very much for that. And then they play on Sunday again. So by the time Monday's show happens, there's going to be 2 games in the book. So I'll either be happy, Keith, or I'll be sad, Keith. So we'll see what Monday brings, but I'll see what I can do to keep you guys apprised of that journey.
There will either be a bunny left or there won't.
Yes.
Wow, Nicole. Just drag him down, Nicole. Drag him down.
You mean this right here?
I have a feeling if you lose, he's going bye-bye.
Yes, exactly. Or I might just have to crush this too, right? But now we'll leave that aside. All right, nation, we're gonna get out of here. I can't take C. Marty and Nicole's jesting already this morning. They're gonna throw me under the bus. That's okay. I do it all the time. So we're gonna get out of here. We're gonna go in the loop. We got a lot of things happening next week. I didn't even tease the fact that Anthony Franco is going to be stepping into the lab and doing some shows on the entrepreneurial side of things. But before you know it, nation, we're looking at a 6-7 hour live loop coming up here in the next few weeks. Live in the lab with myself, Mornings in the Lab with Keith, Nicole, and Marty, and a bunch of guests along the way. We're going to get out of here. Have a great weekend. We'll see you guys. Well, I guess I'll see you at noon today. 2 dads in the lab with myself, Di Manuel, and Jeff Stahil, the super dad. We'll see you guys later.
Awesome.